For me, it's about the law and people. How am I supposed to quantify the value of these things when I don't have evidence?
I'm sorry.
And how people can resolve their problems and just be better for it.
Justice with passion.
I always knew I was going to go into law because I tried to see everybody's point of view in an argument. You say one thing, she says another. So who am I to believe?
Justice with truth.
Either you make the decision or I make the decision. You won't like mine.
This is Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Oliver Brooks is suing Dylan Ford in the amount of $4,630. Mr. Brooks claims he hired Mr. Ford to get rid of the squatters who took over his rental home, and says the defendant got the job done by making his property unlivable.
Mr. Brooks, I understand you had a squatter problem.
Correct, Your Honor.
Tell me all about it.
It's been a nightmare after nightmare. It started 5 years ago when I inherited 3 properties from my father when he passed away. We rent the properties out to families, and it usually goes okay. You have one family move in and one out. So we were in between tenants, and just the lease had run out. And I went over there one morning and just to make sure it was in shape to show to future tenants, and the door won't open. So I start to go in through the window. And to my shock, there's somebody in the house, and they yell at me, "What are you doing?"
Oh my gosh.
I was talking with the person through the window. He starts coming up with the story that he's paying rent and that it's his place. I quickly realized I'm dealing with a squatter.
Yep, exactly. Okay.
There's a long process. You have to wait for courts to get him out. I contacted Dylan Ford. He owns a business called Squatter Squashers.
Okay.
And so he explained to me that his business, Squatter Squashers, out-squats the squatters.
Okay.
And it was kind of suspicious because he didn't give me any answers. He just said he takes care of it.
Okay. Did you ask more questions, or did you just say, okay, fine, he takes care of it?
I did. He said he wants me to draw up a lease and that he has a contract. And in that contract, it says that I don't know how he's taking care of the squatters.
Okay, but you signed the contract?
I signed the contract with him, and then he asked me to get a lease for 1 month at $0 per month with him as a tenant.
How long have you been doing this, Mr. Ford?
About 2 years, Your Honor.
2 years. And do you work with just homeowners, or do you work for agencies like, rental agencies that rent out properties? What kind of business? Tell me a little bit about the business.
Mainly just homeowners. So people such as Mr. Brooks kind of seek me out.
And you're registered and have your business license, everything like that?
Yes,
everything
ma'am.
legit. Do you make them all sign a lease?
Typically, yes. I'll do a month lease, and it'll be at $0.
Okay.
And it basically just gives me
the right to enter the property.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so you, Mr. Brooks, signed the contract, which I have in front of me, and you gave him a lease.
Yes.
That said he could enter the premises and, quote, quote, be a tenant for $0 a month.
Correct.
All right. Why are we here?
I was surprised. Within a week, he called me and he said they're out.
Okay.
I was thrilled.
He did his job.
So I sent him payment right away, and I said, 1 week he's done, I got to see this with my own eyes.
Okay.
So I went over there.
Okay.
The place was trashed.
Okay.
I have some photos I'd like to add into as evidence.
Okay. So just tell me how the place was trashed, please.
He took the garbage, the kitchen garbage, food and everything, and strewed it all about the house.
Okay.
This picture shows the garbage.
But how do you not know maybe this was the squatter living in there?
Oh, I saw what the squatter was like. I could see him through the window.
I know, but you couldn't see through the kitchen. So
True.
Did you know if the squatter was nice and neat, or did he do this to the kitchen? Because most squatters, typically most squatters just don't care, right? So there was trash all over the kitchen, dirtied the floor, but you don't know if that was Mr. Ford or the squatter, right? The other damage?
The other damage, as you can see in the photos, there's the hole in the wall.
There's a hole in the wall.
Yes.
There is
And
a
you can
broken
see
window.
There's a broken window.
And then
with the floor, the hardwood floor is
hardwood
damaged.
floor is stained, okay?
I asked Mr. Ford about it, and he, in addition to the photos, plus the door, some doors were ripped off the hinges.
Okay.
And I asked Mr. Ford about all those. Dylan Ford said, "Yep, that was me. You're welcome."
Okay, so Mr. Ford, you put the hole in the wall?
Yes, Your Honor.
You damaged or you stained the hardwood floor, that little area?
I didn't stain it, but I added to it.
Okay, it was already stained?
Correct.
The 2 windows you broke?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Hey, at least you're telling me the truth. The garbage thrown all over the kitchen?
Correct, Your Honor.
Oh, you did that too?
Yes.
Coming up on Justice for All.
So basically what I do is I make the living conditions so unlivable that these squatters decide to leave on their own.
How did you get into the house if the squatter wouldn't let you in?
Basically had to force my way into the house.
And later,
There was a sign in the front of the apartment building saying caution, wet floor, but as I turned to the elevator to go up to my unit, I slipped and fell.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Oliver Brooks, who is suing Dylan Ford for breach of contract.
And why did you do all of this?
So basically what I do is I make the living conditions so unlivable that these squatters decide to leave on their own.
How did you get into the house if the squatter wouldn't let you in?
Basically had to force my way into the house of sorts.
And then when you get into the house and the squatter sees you, what does the squatter say?
We get into a verbal argument.
Yep.
And I let him know that this is my house, this is my spot now.
You pull out the lease.
Yes, ma'am. And I let them know that I'm not going anywhere. So if this is how you want to do it, then
So you basically squat on them.
correct.
Got it. So then you proceed to make their life miserable from what I hear.
Absolutely. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So you make their life miserable. What else you do? You dirty the place, you
Loud.
Sometimes
I'll turn the water off, crank the heater up. Different things just to make it as uncomfortable as possible.
The squatter really can't do anything against you because
Really can't do anything.
you have a lease.
Correct, yes.
How many days did it take for the squatter to leave for you to kick out the squatter?
About a week.
About a week? And he was
Yes.
gone
And he was gone on his own terms.
on his own terms. And that's when you called Mr. Brooks and said, my job's complete.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Brooks, let's look at this contract. You signed the contract, right?
I did.
Okay. All right. Did you specifically review Section 2?
I did.
Okay. Were the specific methods and actions to be employed by the contractor, Mr. Ford, to remove the squatter at the sole discretion of the contractor?
Correct.
So you signed that. So basically you gave him a free ticket to do whatever the heck he needed to do, get rid of the squatter. I mean, you did. You signed it. I mean, it's right there in black and white. Why do you put that clause in your contract, Mr. Ford?
For situations like this, apparently, Your Honor. So basically, if the squatter was to sue him, it would be on me as opposed to him.
Interesting. So, but is that also a way to cover your, you know what, when you do damages like this?
Correct.
All right. Interesting. Okay. So then you walk in there, Mr. Brooks, and you're like, what the heck? I had no idea you were going to destroy my place. Almost $4,700 worth of damages, right? And you
Yes.
asked him to pay for it, and Mr. Ford said no.
Yeah, he said, no way, it's part of his service.
Okay.
I imagine he would, I've been at like a gas station convenience store where they turn on classical music to try to keep the riffraff out. I was thinking like something like that, turning the heat up or off, or, the cold water, hot water, something like that.
But you didn't ask. But you didn't ask. It's like, don't ask, don't tell. And if I read if any reasonable person reads that clause from the contract, for me, it'd be reasonable to assume that he's going to be a little suspicious on what he does. I mean, you signed it. I didn't sign it. So you basically gave him a free hall pass to do whatever he wanted within reason.
Well,
and he did, and now you're complaining about it. So it doesn't make sense. So let's think about it. Is it cheaper to fix the house now or to to have the squatters in the house. So what scenario would you prefer? Having $4,600 of damages or still having a squatter in your house?
Well, Your Honor, I anticipated the $4,000 fee to Dylan Ford.
So that's
and Squatters House.
$8,000. Putting a squatter through eviction process would probably have been more money than that if they refused and didn't want to leave, right, Cinder?
Right, 100%.
So at this point, it's like, you got to cut your losses somewhere. And listen, hey, when there's a valid contract, there's a valid contract. There's nothing illegal about this contract. I didn't sign it. If there were something illegal, then of course I'd have to say this is a legal contract, Mr. Ford. Therefore, it doesn't stand, and therefore you'd be responsible for the damages. But how else are you going to get a squatter up apart from making their life miserable and making noise? I mean, for me, it's reasonable to assume that's what's going to happen. And he basically told you, don't ask, please, because I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. And you said, okay, no problem. So I mean, that's it. So based on that, I can't grant your claim, Mr. Brooks, because you basically
we talked about there's a lease also.
But a lease for $0 for 1 month.
Would you please reference subsection 14?
Do you really want me to consider that lease valid when it was part of the contract for the squatting services, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too, all right? You can't do that. So based on the evidence, I will rule in favor of the defendant and rule against the plaintiff. Unfortunately, Mr. Brooks, I will deny your claim for $4,630, okay? Good luck next time.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
He hired me for a service, and I completed that service. Squatter squashers, you know where to find me.
Well, yeah, make sure and take and double that bill. Instead of $4,000, it's going to be like $9,000 with all the damage you do.
Thank you.
Coming up on Justice for All.
I went to urgent care, and then I found out that I fractured my wrist. So when I got back into the apartment, I noticed that the wet spot was still there. So clearly he didn't do anything about it.
You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. Sandra Sue is suing Matthew Walker in the amount of $1,250. Ms. Sue claims her apartment manager failed to keep up with the maintenance tasks at her building and says she had a major slip and fall on a wet marble floor.
Ms. Sue, you are suing your apartment manager for an injury that you had when you slipped and fell on a very rainy day. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor,
All right,
that is
explain.
correct. I run almost every day in all weather conditions, but it had been raining that day. So I was coming back to my apartment. There was a sign in the front of the apartment building saying caution, wet floor, but as I turned to the elevator to go up to my unit, I slipped and fell. I contacted the apartment manager saying that, hey, the apartment, there was a wet spot there. That's probably where I hurt myself. I slipped and fell. He said that he'll look into it. But I went to urgent care, and then I found out that I fractured my wrist. So when I got back into the apartment, I noticed that the wet spot was still there. So clearly he didn't do anything about it.
Okay, do you have pictures or something so I can see?
I do have a picture of the apartment lobby.
Okay, can you give that to Cinder? So was this during these horrible rains that we've been having lately, that it rained and it rained and it rained and it rained?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a rainstorm.
But were there any issues with the structure of the apartment that water was leaking down to the lobby floor?
No, Your Honor, there was not. It was just heavy rain.
So why did you put the sign in there?
So just to let everybody know, hey, it could be slippery when wet in here.
Is that something that you customarily do in the apartment?
I'm the property manager. I've been there for about a year now. So it's up to me to do that on the weekends. And I'd been going up there like every 2 hours because it would just constantly people coming in and leaving wet marks everywhere.
So she called you and said, I fell because there was a puddle?
Correct. And I said I was going to go take a look at it, investigate, since it was just me.
Did you see the floor being wet anywhere near the elevator?
Not during the elevator, no. I did see a shoe print.
She says there was a puddle.
I didn't see a puddle. I saw a shoe print.
Coming up,
I'm just saying that if there was a wet spot, a puddle there should have been a sign in front of the puddle saying caution.
you're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez. We're back with the case of Sandra Sue, who is suing Matthew Walker for personal injury.
Do you feel that you took reasonable steps to make sure everybody was safe though in the apartment building?
I did. Like I said, I was going out every 2 hours and double checking to make sure that nobody was, like there wasn't a lot of water everywhere, because I wouldn't want to fall.
All right, anything else, Ms. Sue?
Okay, hold on. It was Saturday morning, 10 a.m. There must have not been a lot of tenants around, and the floor is really slippery. It's a very marble floor. Yeah, so I still had adrenaline, so I didn't notice that my right hand was hurting that badly. It was just kind of uneasy.
So the slip must have not been that bad when you fell, or
I didn't realize that it was that
did
bad.
you notice any did you walk in fast? Did you notice any puddles there? Because you saw the sign. Did you notice any puddles?
I couldn't have noticed because I was just focused and there was no sign where the puddle was. I had to turn the corner to go to the elevator.
The sign, listen, it's not that big of an entryway. I have to use my common sense. One sign means the whole floor is going to be slippery there. I mean, is he going to place signs every 5 inches of a square? I mean, it looks like a pretty small entryway. It's a really pretty entryway, but it looks pretty small. So was he supposed to, is that what you're saying, that it would have been reasonable for him to put a wet sign in every single little corner, like 10 inches, 12 inches from each other? Then you couldn't walk.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if there was a wet spot, a puddle there should have been a sign in front of the puddle saying caution.
Okay, but you also know it was raining. There was no, I don't know if you fell because you were in a rush and your clothes were wet and your sneakers were wet.
Judge Perez's verdict when Justice for All returns. You're watching Justice for All with Judge Cristina Perez.
I'm just trying to figure out if you didn't use your common sense and you walked in a rush after this great run in the rain, being your shoes were going to be slippery, and then, you know, maybe you didn't use extra care and common sense. I don't find that the apartment building failed to act reasonably. I don't. I think they did everything they could within their power to maintain and come out continuously knowing that it was raining, right? I think that the problem was you went out raining in this huge thunderstorm, or not just thunderstorm, a huge rainstorm, and you came back in and you were soaked. I get soaked when I go to my car outside and come back in. You were probably wet. And I have a feeling you fell based on your clothes. Okay, because I don't find any evidence to back up the claim. So based on the evidence, I'll deny the plaintiff's claim for $1,250.
All rise.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I have to pay $1,250 for my medical bills when I feel like the apartment building was being negligent.
And I'm sorry that she fell, but I feel justice was served today.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.